Welcome to Relationships at Work, your leadership guide to building workplace connections and avoiding blind spots. I'm your host, Russell Lolliker, communications and leadership expert with a couple of decades of successful experience and a whole heap of curiosity on how we can make the workplace better. If you find yourself being a leader that's trying to understand and improve your impact on work culture and the employee experience, you're in the right place. It's Thursday, time for a mini episode of the show, just a quick and valuable bit of information, usually under about 10 minutes to help your mindset for the week ahead. If you're curious where these ideas, thoughts, insights come from, well, you should check out the Raw Note newsletter. That also comes out every Thursday, but it's a few months ahead. And then these mini episodes are sort of inspired by newsletters that have already come and gone. But anyway, it's a nice way for me to share a bit more information in a new and different way. Okay, enough of that. Let's get into this. Today's episode, our focus is the damage is done. Leaders fixing after the fact. When I was a kid, my mom told me the story of my grandmother who worked tirelessly in her role for years. She worked for Sun Life doing payroll. Now, Sun Life, this is many years ago. This is in Vancouver, BC. I can't tell you the history of the organization. I don't know where they are now, but this is going back quite a few decades. She was so efficient that she would finish her job early and ask for more work just to avoid getting bored. This continued for years. Now, you can imagine over time how she ended up taking on quite a lot. And with all that extra work, what did she get? Well, more work. No recognition, no reward. Her reward was more work. What are they going to say? To the company, it was just convenient to keep piling work on her. And she didn't complain. She kept busy. So when she finally retired, they hired someone to take over for her. The problem? Well, that person quickly realized they couldn't do it all in one day. They were forced to take work home just to get everything done. It wasn't tenable. It wasn't feasible. So what did they do? They quit. Only then did leadership actually realize the magnitude of the work and of the problem. It turned out they had to hire 3 people to replace my grandmother. One person replaced by a team to do the exact same amount of work. But leadership only noticed there was a problem after the fact. They didn't take the time to realize that while they had my grandmother working for them. Oh no. Instead of recognizing her efforts, rewarding her, or planning for this knowledge transfer of a future, they waited until someone else didn't want the job anymore before they took action. That's not leadership. That's just management. That's just checkboxing. And you know what? This happens far more than we'd like to admit. Now, sure, there can be valid reasons why one person's role might eventually need a team. Maybe they've accumulated so much institutional knowledge that they can work faster than anyone else. Or maybe they have an unusually broad skill set that allows them to take on far more. But should they? Where's the support? Where's the accolades? Where's the money? And how undervalued does that employee feel when they're taken for granted? My grandmother had 6 kids. 6. She wasn't going to push back to get the recognition she deserved. She needed the job. She wasn't going to rock the boat. Sure, that was a different time, a different generation, but let's be honest, leadership still takes employees for granted in a lot of situations. It's not a new problem. We only seem to fix things after people are fed up with a lack of support or recognition and decide to leave. It's not a problem until it's a problem, and then leaders seem to then have to care. Where's the relationship with the staff? Why don't we do things while they're still with us? Where's the leadership? I'm often reminded of my grandmother's story when I hear from people who are in roles, begging for resources and support, only to be told, no, it's not coming. And those same employees are expected to do more with less, and less, and less. So when they finally do quit out of frustration, feeling undervalued or burnt out, that's when leadership takes the time to understand the role or go, oh, this came out of left field. What can we do? When that's come and gone, that moment of actually fixing the problem could have happened so much earlier, but it doesn't. Suddenly, leadership realizes the job was under-supported all along. So what do? They finally offer some compassion, some consideration, some change, and often post a job at the salary it should have had all along, because no one would apply for it otherwise with the amount of work that's attached to it. But what message does that send? It tells employees they have to leave for things to get better or to be taken seriously. Most employees want to do a great job, so they'll push themselves to the breaking point rather than let things fall apart. And because nothing is broken in leadership's eyes, they assume there's nothing to fix. But that comes at the expense of the employee. That's not leadership, that's turning a blind eye. As leaders, we need to spend time regularly assessing workloads and resources. Now, this does sound like management, but it's management with a leadership lens, a human lens. And we can be part of the solution by being informed and collaborative. Now, what does that look like? That looks like regular check-ins. We could schedule regular, meaningful check-ins with our team members to discuss workloads, discuss those challenges. And these conversations could happen, well, they need to happen in a productive and psychologically safe way, because this helps identify potential issues before they escalate into things like burnout or quitting. We could provide adequate resources. I know for me to say it, and there's a lot of leaders going, we can't. We just do not have it. But is there things we could do to ensure those employees have the tools, the training, and the support they need to do their jobs efficiently? If additional staffing isn't an option, maybe we need to rethink those workloads and push back on unrealistic expectations. We could also balance workload distribution. Regularly assess and adjust workloads to prevent any single employee from being consistently overloaded. This could mean redistributing tasks. Could be hiring help when needed, only when needed, as and whens. Or it could be empowering our team to say no to more work until things are under control. There needs to be some situational awareness here for that. So here's a red flag. When your employees say yes to everything, that's something we should be paying attention to, because that's a cultural hangover from the old world that really needs to go. A great leader shouldn't be surrounded by yes people. And that includes how tasks are taken on. Some employees are scared to say no to their bosses or say yes and to communicate what other tasks they'll have to deprioritize to take on more work. It could be a career-limiting move to say or communicate in that way. But as leaders, if we are turning a blind eye to our employees, whether they're pleading for help or silently waiting for us to step up, then we are part of the problem. We're fostering an unhealthy work environment and encouraging turnover. What do our employees need to do their jobs well? Do we even know the scope of their roles anymore? As leaders, it's our responsibility to understand our teams, their workloads, and their working conditions. That's how we provide the support they need to thrive and to stay. This is a great opportunity to really show what kind of leaders we are. That's it. That's all. That is another episode of Relationships at Work, your leadership guide to building workplace connections and avoiding blind spots. Thank you for joining another mini episode. Pretty quick, aren't they? They're in, they're out. But hopefully you enjoy my insights and maybe some things to think differently when looking at the week ahead or the weeks or months ahead. Anyway, always enjoy this time with you. Thank you for being so supportive of the show. And I look so forward to talking to you again. We got a guest episode coming up on Tuesday, and I'm excited to share all the insights from that. All right, take care.